We are now live. Yo, what's up? Back from vacation. It is officially Tuesday, 15 MLB games, as is every Tuesday this time of year. Prop Beaver held down the fort baseball-wise while I was gone. I did well top bets-wise. He was in California, so I was doing it by myself Monday through Friday, and the top bets went, I think it was 9-2 in that span, and then Prop Beaver took over over the weekend, and he did the ticket for 3 days on his own, and we picked up like almost 3 units, I think.
This muting thing. Yeah, I think we picked up over 3 units, so couldn't be more happy about how the weekend went, especially yesterday. Our first 2 games looked terrible, and then we roared back with a 5-1 to finish the rest of the day, so sensational.
Yeah, it was a nice little weekend despite being shorthanded staff-wise. I know we didn't put up as much content as we normally do, but picks actually we're doing solid, so let's keep it rolling. I thought you were in Cali, you got whiter.
No, I'm telling you, it's the lighting. I got a little. Nah, damn, I still look white there. Yeah, I know, I do look white. It's pretty sad. I did go out a lot too, so.
Sure, you did.
I'm a disappointment.
All right, so first game, White Sox. Excuse me. White Sox at Cleveland. I am on White Sox money line. You can get this at. I think you can get this at plus 115 on a couple books. I wrote it in my notes at plus 110 because that was the consensus line. But if you line shop, you can probably get this at plus 115. So this line was actually close to a pick'em when last night's game started. White Sox got blanked by Cleveland last night, 3-0 by Hunter Gaddis, who actually we've made fun of Hunter Gaddis, but like I don't think Hunter Gaddis is terrible. But anyway, Cleveland's now up to a minus 135 favorite on some books. We just saw this pitching matchup, Dylan Cease versus Logan Allen. We're literally 5 days ago. I know Cleveland got the win, and at first glance, it may look like Logan Allen outpitched Dylan Cease, but I mean, Allen let up 7 hits and a walk in 5 2/3, and Cease pitched into the 7th inning and allowed just 5 hits and a walk. So if that exact thing happens again, Chicago wins that game. Hitting-wise, both of these lineups have been improving. White Sox 16th against lefties in the last 14 days. Cleveland 19th against righties in the last 14 days. That's another wash. But when we get to the bullpen, this is where the advantage definitely goes to the Chicago White Sox, and this is where I think we will win this bet. In the second half of the game, White Sox will definitely have the advantage. Chicago's bullpen is second in WOBA allowed in the last 14 days. This bullpen's hot, plus they're completely rested. Middleton, Lopez, Kelly, and Graveman, all well-rested, all available tonight. Cleveland's bullpen, on the other hand, they're going to be without Trevor Stephan, who you can make a strong argument has been the second most important arm out of the bullpen behind Clase. Speaking of Clase just threw 14 pitches last night. Now, he'll be available if Cleveland needs him, but Chicago's bullpen not only been better, definitely better rested too. So I am on the White Sox.
Yeah, for this one, I like the first 5 over 4.5. White Sox may not be what they once were against lefties, but they are improving as of late. 16th over the season, and the last 6 lefties to face them combined owned a 3 ERA, so not very good. But here's where the issue comes in for Logan Allen, and it's the fact that he's going to face him for a second consecutive time. That's a spot I hate backing pitchers, and then on top of that, he's a rookie. So while he's been solid thus far, I'm not exactly feeling good about him here, especially because he's been quite lucky thus far. His expected ERA, a whole 2.06 points higher than his actual ERA. His 1.46 whip is high. His 3.63 BABIP is very high. In his last 3 starts, he's allowed 27 base runners through 15.2 innings of work. So I think the regression is going to swing back Chicago's way, and they should score some runs off of him early. On the other side, we got Cease, who I think is just flat out struggling right now. Even last game, I thought he could have been a bit better against the Guardians bats that were dead. First 4 starts this season, he looked like himself. Last 6 starts, 6.82 ERA and a 3.78 WOBA, so not very good. And I know he just faced Cleveland at home and let up 3 runs. I think at Cleveland, it's not going to be much better for him. And I think that the Guardians could get at least 2. So I'm expecting at least 3 from Chicago, 2 from Guardians. So a 4.5 at the plus price of plus 102. I like the value there.
All right, first 5 over. It's tough with Cease, but make sure. Are you muting me after you're done? All right. Okay, cool. All right, next game. Rangers at Pirates. I like the over here at 8. Definitely a bit on the square side though. So if you're tailing, keep that in mind. And I'll get to why in a second. Let me pull out my notes here. So, all right. So coming off last night's loss to the Pirates, this should be a complete hammer spot for Texas. Not only the fact that they're coming off a loss, but the lineups are they're hitting against a left-handed starter, and not just any lefty, Rich Hill. But I do have a couple concerns that are keeping me off Texas here. First one being the fact that Rich Hill is no longer throwing home run derby baseball. In fact, 3 of his last 5 starts have been solid, and his last start was absolutely excellent. He went like 5 or 6 innings, just 1 hit or something crazy. I didn't write it down, but his last start was unreal. Another concern, Rich Hill also has solid career numbers against this Rangers lineup. Texas bats lifetime are just 11 of 50 off Hill with just 3 extra base hits, all 3 of them being doubles. So Rich Hill has actually pitched well against these bats over the course of his career. Another concern, the Pirates bats are definitely out of that terrible slump. They scored 33 runs in their last 5 games. Pirates are scoring again. Eovaldi has been excellent on the road this year, and he's been pitching well recently as a whole. But he was excellent. He's been excellent on the road this year. He was excellent on the road last year. But like I said, I can't really get there with Texas minus 1.5, because if the Pirates are going to start hitting, it looks like they're starting to, and if they're going to start hitting like they were in early to mid-April, then the better value is definitely just on the over here. Oh, by the way, and add on the fact that in the last 14 days, these bullpens are 23rd and 29th. So at 8, this seems like a very generous bet. The reason I'm a little concerned is this line went up from 8 to 8.5, and then this morning came back down to 8. So it doesn't really seem like odds makers are scared of the over money coming in. That's what makes the bet a little bit square, but not going to scare me off. I'm sticking with the over at 8.
Yeah, I mean, I'm much more confident on this game. Texas first 5 run line. Fading Rich Hill at home is an American pastime, people, and one I don't really plan on passing up on. At home thus far, the guy's got a 5.25 ERA. Should be worse. 3.92 WOBA, 1.88 home run per 9, and a 5.71 FIP. His expected ERA of 5.87 is a whole 2 points higher than his actual ERA. Now he's got to face Texas. Guess what's happened to the last 11 lefties to face Texas combined? Well, they own an 8.5 ERA, a 2.01 WHIP, and a 2.03 home run per 9. That's an 11-game sample size of lefties getting absolutely dominated by the Texas Rangers. So while Rich Hill has done well against them in the past, I don't really care. And in fact, the last 2 times he played Texas, he allowed 4 and 3 runs through the first 5. So I think similar results are going to happen here. On the other side, we got Eovaldi, who looked rough to start the year. But I mean, Jesus Christ, look at his last 4 starts. 0.83 ERA, a 0.64 whip. The dude's been phenomenal. His best spots on the road against lefties, posting an unholy 156 WOBA and a 0.54 whip. I mean, he's going to face 6 or 5 of those today against Pittsburgh. So I think he has the edge. I wrote in the write-up on the ticket yesterday that if Dane Dunning got shelled, I'd be all over the Pirates bandwagon. But he didn't get shelled. He actually pitched a very good outing, and it was the Texas bullpen that's been, bottom 3 for the past month that gave up all those runs. I think Nathan Eovaldi is going to have another stellar performance here. And the Rangers through the first 5 at minus 120, minus 124. I'll take it.
JD smoking that Walter White again, obviously. Rich Hill will win the Cy Young. Get the hell out of here. It looked like Hairston agreed with you. I saw Hairston post Texas first 5 run line as well. So let's move on to the next one. I put Toronto or pass. And real quick, the reasoning. Whoa, we just froze. Oh, we're back. Sorry. Wait. Yeah, we're back. Froze for a second. So like I said, he likes this game more than I do. I put Toronto or pass. Quick reasoning. Everyone's betting Tampa, and you can see why. I mean, Toronto's slumping. They've lost 5 in a row, 7 of their last 8. Everyone's betting the Rays, but the line actually drops. It was at minus 130 early this morning. Drops to minus 125 despite the action coming in on Tampa heavy. So it makes me want to bet Toronto, but Jose Berrios on the road. If you've been betting baseball for more than a month, that's like that's red flag central. Jose Barrios on the road. I can't do that. And like I said, lost 7 of the last 8 games. How can we really get behind this team? So I'm not betting this one. If I had to, I would play the reverse line movement and bet Toronto, but I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, I don't mind an over here either, Ray Santos. I see you're looking at that angle. My favorite bet for this game would probably be the Rays first 5 money line. I think the books, yes, they're not too scared of that Rays money, but I really think that's more so because of the bullpen that's about to come in. Rays just had 2 bullpen days in a row, and their bullpen's been one of the worst in the league over the last 2 weeks. So not only is that bullpen going to be gassed, but they're playing some really bad baseball right now. I think Toronto could take the lead in the second half of the game, but through the first half, I mean, we got Jose Barrios on the road, like we said, just not a guy we trust. He had 2 good road starts this season, but who were they against? Houston, who at the time couldn't hit anything, and Pittsburgh, who at the time couldn't hit anything. But as a whole on the road, the guy still got a 6.7 ERA and a 3.58 WOBA, but not very good numbers. One thing I will concede, he is a bit better against righties on the road. 2.70 WOBA is actually really, really good, but he headed to Tampa last year to face them, a team that was significantly worse against right-handed batters than they are this year, and he got crushed, allowing 6 runs, 8 base runners through just 2 innings of work. And if you look, in fact, Barrios through 4 trips to Tampa is 0-3 with an 8.6 ERA and a 1.55 whip. The guy's getting throttled. Taj Bradley's a beast, dude. I mean, the expected numbers are better than the real numbers, but a 252 xERA, 329 FIP, and a 28.8 K to B percentage is nothing to joke with. That's a very, very good starting pitcher. He's coming off one of his worst starts of the year, too, so kind of like this is a buy low spot for him. Yes, I like the Rays for the first 5.
One thing I will add is I just checked while he was talking. So if you look on this graphic here, it goes up to 2 p.m. and you could see the line drop this morning from -130 to -125. I just checked. Consensus line is down to now down to Tampa -117. So it continues to drop despite the public being heavy on Tampa. I still don't know if I can 100% pull the trigger on this one, but that is significant line movement, reverse line movement. Now, whether you're the type of person who pays attention to that or not, it's a red flag. It's a red flag for sure. I would go Toronto or pass. Move on to the next one. And by the way, did you and Hairston compare notes before this? Because you guys are on the same pick in every single game so far.
I don't know. Hopefully that's a good thing, Hairston.
All right, next game. All right, Arizona at Philly. I'm on the Phillies first 5 run line. Back in Mr. Strom. I don't really want to, but it's crazy to even consider fading Arizona the way they're playing right now. They're 8-2 in their last 10. They're currently on the 8th game of a road trip, and they're 5-2 on this road trip. I mean, Arizona's killing it right now. But when you talk starting pitching matchups in this game, how do you not love the Phillies here? Ryan Nelson has been struggling. I mean, he's been terrible. And you got Matt Strom. And now he has not started a game in about 3 weeks, but his numbers have been solid. It's just, he's been great at home. The Phillies just have such a huge advantage in the starting pitching here. I'm scared to touch the full game, especially at this price, because the way Arizona's playing is terrifying. But I of the starting pitchers, I'm definitely on the Phillies here, and it's a decent price. I think it was like plus 110 or something. So that would be my bet for this one. I don't think this made the ticket though, but I don't hate it.
Yeah, for this game, I don't really feel a firm way about any of the bets. It's hard because of what Philadelphia is going to be doing with their rotation today. They're going to be throwing out Strom out there, and normally Strom in the beginning of the year was at least going 3 to 4, maybe 5 innings if he was really dealing. But now he's in that bullpen role, and I don't think they're trying to overextend him in any way, shape, or form. So I think he's only going to go 2, and then they're going to bring in Dave Covey, who's a right-handed pitcher. He has 1 start since 2020, so it's really, really hard to tell how he's going to do. My leans would be the first 5 over here. I believe it's at 5. I've definitely looked into that, and I would also look into a Phillies first 5 team total over 2.5. I think Ryan Nelson's going to get smashed here. He's coming off his best start of the season against the Athletics, but if you look at the A's recently, who the hell isn't? And really what I like that sticks out for me is that Nelson struggles quite a bit against lefties. 431 WOBA is disgusting. A 709 FIP is heinous. And the -5 to 3 K to BB percentage suggests that the man has simply zero control when he's facing lefty batters. Key lefties in the Phillies lineup, well, you got Bryson Stott, Bryce Harper, Kyle Schwarber. Those are all lefties. And then you got Marsh and Clemens at the back end of the lineup that are all lefties as well that could stir some trouble up. I just think with him coming off his best start of the season and the Phillies facing 2 lefties in a row, a split that they're significantly worse against, this is a really, really nice buy low spot for that offense, especially because the last 5 righties to face Philly owned a combined 8.63 ERA and a 2.21 WHIP. I think he's going to get smoked. I like his outs under, but the problem is that the line moved up on that, which is really, really suspect. So I'm not going to bet the outs. Those would be my 2 favorite bets here.
Yeah, so we're kind of on the same page here.
Like Arizona, jeez.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they're 8-2 in their last 10. They're 5-2 on this road trip. They're playing well.
It makes sense.
You can see this graphic here, significant line movement towards the Phillies. Don't ask why the colors are off. That's Prop Beaver was doing it.
I mean, it's red for Arizona and it's blue for Philly.
Blue for Philly.
Their secondary color.
I would have used the red for Philly and the tan for Arizona. But anyway, minus 132 at 4 a.m. this morning, minus 155 now. Odds makers definitely reacting to the action coming in on the Phillies. Definitely makes me feel a little better. But like I said, this isn't one of my favorite bets on the board or anything. I just really like the Phillies to get to Nelson. Next game. Cardinals at Reds. I'm going to let Prop Beaver talk. We were on the same for this one. Over 10. You can take it from here.
I was preaching earlier this season, this boy Ashcraft is getting lucky. He's getting lucky. He's going to get smacked soon. Unfortunately, I was on vacation when he got smacked, but his last 3 starts, man, 13.14 ERA, 4.48 WOBA. The dude is getting smashed into a different century. And what's crazy is that if you know Ashcraft, you know that he's dominant against lefties, has been his entire short career. But it's lefties during this 3-game span that are killing him right now. And what's concerning to me is he faced the Cardinals last season 2 times. He allowed 19 base runners and 8 runs through just 9 innings of work. I don't really see much changing here with the Cards first in WRC Plus against righties over the last 2 weeks and 7th over the last week. On the other side is Wainwright, and I mean, Jesus Christ, this guy has looked terrible going back to last season. I could read those stats, but let's just focus on this season. The 5.74 ERA is already pretty rough, but the 8.51 expected ERA suggests that he should be significantly worse.
8.51?
Yes. His 11 K percentage is by far the lowest in his career. He's creating 0 whiffs, and he's allowing opposing batters to hit at a 300 average. So I just think he's going to continue to get hit up here. Since he may not be the greatest against righties on the season, I'll concede that, but they've scored 3+ runs of the last 7-9 to visit them. And on top of that, we saw the bullpen see very heavy usage last night. They sent out their best arms, both sides, and I believe they sent out 4 to 5 pitchers from each side with that game going into extras. So the Pens, very vulnerable. The starting pitching, incredibly vulnerable. Definitely like the over here.
Yeah, I mean, we had the line shot to get it at 10. Almost all books have it at 10.5 now. And you can see the comments like the over. That looks like JD's on the over. Sergio right below him is also on the over. You can see up here on the left, top left, the home plate graphic opened at 9.5. It's already moved a full run. So yeah, over seems to be the look here.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the next one. Padres at Nats. This one didn't make the ticket in. I really wrestled with this one for a while. I put Nats money line down, and I think I have decent reasoning for it. Like, you might hear this and like the bet. I don't think I'm actually going to do it though, because you'll see it as we roll through the rest of the games. There's a lot of underdogs I like, so I didn't want to force this one. But since May 1st, let's talk MLB baseball since May 1st. The Washington Nationals are 10-10. The San Diego Padres are 6-12. So I don't care about the names on the roster. If we're just talking about, hey, what's been going on in baseball the last 3.5 weeks, the Washington Nationals are playing better baseball than the Padres. So right off the bat, you got a team that's playing better at home at plus 130. Like I said, Padres 6-12 since May 1st. Also, you got Yu Darvish pitching for San Diego. Now, Yu Darvish is almost always overvalued on the road. He's an absolute monster at home. But this is dating back to a couple seasons now. On the road, he's definitely more vulnerable. Mackenzie Gore has not been pitching that great recently, and I don't fully trust him. That being said, the Padres lineup hasn't been hitting lefties all year. Certainly hasn't been hitting left-handed pitching recently. This is just the plus 130 value here. This, like I said, didn't make the ticket. I probably will not bet this, but this is the way I would go if I was to bet this game.
I'm in the same boat where I don't really love anything here. If I had to pick a side, I would definitely lean Washington just at the plus price, considering how bad San Diego looks recently. But I think if I had to give out a play, my play would be the first 5 under here at 4. It's at plus 100. Low totals are low for a reason. And the Padres, I mean, this team is horrendous right now. 26 in WRC plus against lefties during their 14-game span of being 3-11. They're 30th in WRC plus during that span overall. They're averaging 2.8 runs per game. And guess what? It's really just the bats, because their bullpen during that span, first in ERA and WOBA. They're starting pitching during that span, 7th in WOBA. They just can't score runs. So is there bounce back potential against Mackenzie Gore? I personally don't see it. Gore has been a bit more exploitable as of late, but as I mentioned a million times, the Padres just don't know how to score. Saw it live in person. They bases loaded 3 times, couldn't do shit with it. On top of that, this same team that traded Gore for Juan Soto, so there's a bit of an extra revenge factor there. That should serve as a nice boost for him. Other side is Darvish, and oddly enough, the dude has horrible success as a Padre against this Nats team. 0-2, 6.75 ERA, 2.1 home runs allowed per 9. Truly terrible. And he's struggled a lot more against lefties than righties, which is another thing that's working for the Nationals. They have 6 in their lineup, but again, they can't score runs either. At least through the first 5, they are 28th against righties over the last 2 weeks, 29th over the last month. They've really been hitting bullpens, and the Padres bullpen is so good. So I don't really have anything for the full game, especially at the price for the Padres. But through the first 5, I'd be willing to take a stab at the under.
To answer your question about the ticket, we were racing against time. We just had it finished, and it was 3:59. So we had to go live, but it's done. It'll be posted literally as soon as this show ends. Next game, Orioles at Yanks. Now here's a dog I'm down to take a shot on. Give me the Orioles money line, man. Was it plus 140, plus 145, plus 150 on FanDuel? Hell yeah! Give me Baltimore money line plus 150. Fading Garrett Cole. So this is just a great value spot here. Plus 145, plus 150 in a division rivalry game. I know everyone's talking about sorry, I was making sure I wasn't muted. I know everyone's talking about how good the Yankees have been, right? Yanks are 11-3 in their last 14. They're definitely cruising right now. But that being said, Baltimore's 9-3 in their last 12. I mean, Baltimore's playing great baseball also right now. And again, along this same line, everyone's talking about Garrett Cole, right? He's dominating this year. But look in the month of May. Garrett Cole, this is numbers in the month of May. Check this out. Garrett Cole's made 4 starts. He's got a 3.68 ERA and a 1.55 whip in the month of May. Kyle Bradish's 3 starts in the month of May, a 2.04 ERA and an 8.49 whip. So again, everyone's talking about the Yankees. Everyone's talking about Garrett Cole. Meanwhile, Kyle Bradish has been better than Cole in May. So Garrett Cole cooling off a bit. Kyle Bradish throwing his best baseball of the year right now, pitching his best baseball of the year right now. Keep in mind, I know the Yankees are loaded with talent. Everyone's always talking about them. But Baltimore has the second best record in Major League Baseball. They're 31-16. Like, do I think they win tonight? I don't know. But at plus 150, well, I think this is a coin flip game. And if you can get a coin flip at plus 150, I mean, that's just going to be great value every single time. So I will take Baltimore in the division rivalry game at plus 150.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty much on the same page. The Orioles are just doing something special right now. We bet on them over the weekend twice when they were big dogs against the Blue Jays, and you just pulled it out of their ass, it almost seemed like, with just clutch hits. And that's what they continue to do. That's how this team wins. They're not the most impressive when it comes to their numbers against righties, but they make all the right plays, and it gets them into winning position. I really think this game comes down to if they could get a few runs off of Cole early and lead it, and be down even just 1 run heading into when they face the Yankees bullpen, then I think they win this game, because the Orioles bullpen's on a different planet right now, have consistently been a top 10 unit all season. We've seen the Yankees bullpen start to falter a bit lately. And while the Yankees bat, yes, over the last 2 weeks, they're rolling. If you look over the last week, they're starting to slump a bit again. So I just think ultimately we're getting a team that's very comparable, as Kyle was saying, at a much better price. So I'm going to bet them.
Spot on. That's exactly what I'm thinking. All right. Next game. The Yankees have been hot, but that's what we're saying is Baltimore's also been hot. I mean, 9-3 in their last 12. Baltimore's also red hot. Dodgers at Braves. Probably likes this one better than me, but I'm gonna put the pick up, and I'm gonna bet this one too, just because. How do you not at this price? I mean, if you get the Dodgers at plus 170, it's almost like I don't even care who's pitching. I would bet the Dodgers at plus 170 9 times out of 10, blindly. That being said, this is a tough spot for them. First of all, they're on the road against Atlanta, against Spencer Strider, one of the best pitchers in baseball, in my opinion. I know he's struggled a little as of late, but I truly believe in Spencer Strider. You got the Braves coming off a loss. Dodgers have a kid named, Billy Miller?
No.
Bryce Miller? What the hell's his name?
One second. Bobby Miller.
Okay, it's not like I was that far off. Bobby Miller making his first career start tonight. Dodgers also used every single significant arm they have in the bullpen last night. Now, most of them, if not all, should be available to go tonight, but still, Braves bullpen's much better rested than the Dodgers. I do understand the reasoning for the line, but still, at plus 170, I'll bet the Dodgers just because it's one of the best teams at baseball, plus 170. Simple as that.
Yeah, so the books priced the Dodgers at plus 120 yesterday, evidently because they felt that Gavin Stone was going to have a tough outing, and he did. He got absolutely rocked. And guess what? The Dodgers still won. It just doesn't make sense to bet the Braves here, even with Strider on the mound at that price. I mean, I know how good Spencer Strider is. Last year, I was preaching his praises. Don't get me started. But I don't see that much value in backing him here. I don't really care if it's Bobby Miller's first major league start. Can't pass up the price with LA. Sure, the Dodgers haven't been quite as potent on the road, but neither has Atlanta. Both teams are 12-10 in their respective splits heading into this game. And yeah, Strider pitched a gem against the Dodgers last year, 6 scoreless innings. Guess what? The Braves still lost 5-3. I think Strider looks a little bit more vulnerable in terms of run exposure this year rather than last year. He surrendered 2+ runs through less than 5 innings in 3 of his 4 home starts, and that was against Baltimore. Cincy, who can't hit on the road, and the Padres, who can't hit in general. So not the most impressive offenses hitting him up at home either. The Dodgers sit 5th in WRC plus in the month of May, and I think they possess a much larger threat than all of them. On the other side, we got Bobby Miller, and despite getting a little unlucky with his 5+ ERA in AAA, his 2.12 OBA and 1.19 WHIP are very, very impressive. If these were the Braves from yesteryear, yeah, I'd be all over them smashing him. But look at the Braves' bats this month. 20th in WRC plus against right-handed pitching. And before they saw Gavin Stone yesterday, they were really, really struggling against righties compared to what they normally are used to. So I think Miller, a top prospect for LA, he could keep it close by the time he exits. Then when it comes to the bullpens, yeah, Dodgers definitely a little more used up than the Braves one was yesterday. But the Braves' key arms that did go yesterday did see some similar usage. And I'm just personally much more confident in LA's bullpen than Atlanta's at the moment. LA's 10th in WOBA over the last 2 weeks. Atlanta just 21st. So at that big plus price, I got to take a stab with the Dodgers.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of along the same boat. It seems like the comment section is collectively on the under. Toast posted the under. That guy Ben Jones posted the under. Hairston liked the under. So it seems like there's a lot of under bettors in the comments. I didn't even look at the total for this one, to be honest. Yeah, I know the Braves bullpen has been struggling. Let's move on to the next one. Astros at Brewers. I mean, do you guys even need an explanation? Houston money line was at minus 130. Houston money line. I think I wrote one sentence for this. So the Astros are 11-1 in their last 12. They've won 11 of their last 12 games. This team has definitely arrived and is cruising. We're starting to see the Astros team that I expected to see. this year. Yeah, JP France did get hit up in his last start, but his first 2 starts were excellent. And we're talking about Colin Ray pitching for Milwaukee. I mean, how much do you really trust him? It's a red-hot Astros team. Colin Ray is definitely not an arm that scares me. So give me the red-hot Houston Astros. I will lay the juice.
I mean, I watched the Astros come into Milwaukee yesterday and absolutely pimp out Corbin Burns. They should do unholy things to Colin Ray today. I mean, I could see them definitely taking a step back just because that's how baseball works. I mean, it's like, oh, you got the Cy Young on the mound, he should deal, gets rocked. You got the scrub on the mound the next day, oh, he should get rocked. Doesn't exactly always happen. But ultimately, how the hell do we pass up on Houston here? As Kyle said, won their last 11 to 12 games. The Brewers have lost their last 5 to 7 games. And the offense looks dead as dirt. I mean, Javier, I watched the entire game yesterday. Javier's fastball looked legitimately awful. He has 2 pitches, and the main one's a fastball, and he could not place it for shit yesterday, and they still managed 1 run off of him. I mean, I just don't get it. The Brewers are 26 in WRC plus against righties over the last 30 days, 22nd over the last 2 weeks, and I have the same thing to say about France that Kyle did. Looked awful last time out, but let's not forget about those first 2 starts where he allowed 1 run on a solo shot through 11.2 innings of work and allowed just 8 total base runners. He's got good K stuff. The Brewers are striking out at a much higher rate as of lately. And I mean, I don't trust Colin Ray at all. The dude at home thus far has got a 3.96 WOBA and a 6.91 ERA. He's a guy who didn't pitch in this league for about 2 years before coming to the Brewers this year. I think there was a reason for that. And yeah, if the Sharps want to play the Brew Crew here, go right ahead. Gonna just keep cashing out on the Astros.
Yeah, couldn't say it better. So it looks like Ben Jones is even laying the 1.5 there. Harrison's laying the 1.5. Don't blame you. I think at -130, I'm down to just stick to the run money line to play it a little safe. But trust me, do not blame you for laying the 1.5. Also, check this out here on the graphic here. Look at all this sharp action that came in Milwaukee around in between 7 a.m. and 11 a.m. And the line moved the other way. It went from plus 107 to plus 110, which tells us the odds makers don't give a shit about people betting the Brewers in this one. So yeah, definitely on Houston. Let's move on to the next game. Mets at Cubs. I originally was on Cubs money line, and then Prop Beaver kind of talked me into sticking to the first 5 money line. I think it's at -115 when I looked about an hour ago. What he said about the first 5 makes sense. So I liked it a lot better when Kodai Senga was on the mound. I'll say that. He was supposed to be the pitcher for the Mets. You can see in the graphic on the left, I have Kodai Senga there because when I made the graphics, he was supposed to be pitching. It's Tyler McGill now, and I definitely like Tyler McGill a lot better than I like Kodai Senga. Still down to play the Cubs, though. Drew Smyly has been great at home this year. He's actually been solid at home for a few years now. He's a lefty. The Mets bats have not hit lefties well pretty much this whole season. There was a stretch earlier in the year where they were hitting lefties a little bit, but as a whole, this has not been a lineup that you're scared of if you're backing a lefty pitcher. Even on this little hot streak the Mets are on, in the last 7 days, the Mets are 5-1, but they're still 25th in OPS against lefties. So even during this hot streak, they're still not hitting left-handed pitching. Just all numbers point towards Drew Smyly pitching a good game tonight. I know backing the Cubs bats is a little scary, but the Cubbies are low-key starting to hit right-handed pitching again like they were earlier in the season. The last 14 days, they're 11th. Last 7 days, they're 8th in OPS against right-handed pitching. So the Cubs are flying under the radar, starting to hit right-handed pitching. So I really think they're only going to need to get 2 across on Tyler McGill to cash this. At worst, we're looking at a push. The reason I'm sticking to the first 5, I had Cubs money line, and my reasoning was, I don't really care for the Mets bullpen. It doesn't scare me. And I knew the Cubs bullpen has been struggling. But then Proppy pointed out just how bad the Cubs bullpen has been. And it's so bad. They're dead last in the last 14 days. Their WOBA in the last 14 days are allowing like a 4.11 WOBA or something crazy. So the Cubs bullpen has just been so bad. I do think the Cubs win this game, but I can 100% see the bullpen blowing it for them. So I think the safer bet is to stick to the first 5.
I definitely want to stick with that Cubs first five money line. This was a potential bet of the day bet for me when Kodai Senga was pitching. Definitely less so now. Kind of really fucking sucks that they had to do that, but whatever. We will live. I like Cubs first five money line, but I also like the first five under here at 4.5 minus 104. The wind is blowing in, and on top of that, I mean, I think McGill is exploitable on the road, but I respect him so much more than Senga, especially after what he's done his last two outings. I mean, I know that Washington isn't great, but he did pitch 5 innings, only allowed a run. He did allow 8 base runners, so that's not great, but he did do that. And then on top of that, he followed up with a great home outing against Tampa. And I know Tampa's bats are a little bit more exploitable on the road, but I think he could still be solid. Cubs bats are not great through the first 5. They tend to hit bullpens, but neither of the Mets. They're in the same situation where they don't hit lefties right now, and they also don't hit bullpens. And then we got Drew Smiley at home, who's a goddamn menace. Look at these numbers: 187 WOBA, a 214 FIP, and he's got a 27 K to BB percentage. I mean, those are some elite metrics right there. Wow, right now, and he's facing a Mets team 26 in WRC plus against lefties over the last 30 days. I think the Mets really, really struggle offensively here against Smiley, and that, yeah, I think both of these bets have a really realistic chance at cashing here, so I like both of them.
What was the other one you said? Both of them?
The first 5 under 4.5 and minus 104.
I could see that. Looks like the comments section are playing the Metropolitans. I saw Toast said Mets money line. Hairsted said Mets. I think there was someone else in there, but yeah. So it looks like the comments are leaning Mets here. Like I said, I could see the Cubs bullpen blowing it, so I could see the Cubs first 5 catching and then the Mets winning. So let's move on to the next one. Tigers at Royals. I skipped. I think Proppy actually is a bet he likes, so I'll let him go. I'm not betting this garbage. It's Eduardo Rodriguez, so I really don't want to fade him. That being said, I backed Eduardo Rodriguez pretty hard in his last start against the Pirates, who weren't hitting anybody, got smoked. I think they lost that game 8-0, so I don't really know what to think about Erod. But yeah, it's the pitcher for the Royals is like Michael Mayers or something. Go ahead, share your bet.
Yeah, I mean, if I had to bet anything here, I would bet on the Royals. Yes, the bullpen is taxed, and Erod is a beast. But I just truly think that the Royals can score a few off of him here, and that line's a bit suspect. It's been pretty much sitting around that minus 150 mark for Detroit all day. I haven't been able to see how the money's reacted recently since they announced the pitching starter for the Royals. But Mike Mayers, not a great pitcher, but he does have decent history against the Detroit Tigers bats. And on top of that, I just feel like we bet the Tigers yesterday. I watched that game. I just felt we got a bit lucky. And that even with Erod on the mound, as exceptional as he is, we've seen these guys go on crazy tears like he did with that scoreless streak. And then afterwards have that regression hit them like a pile of bricks. I love Erod. Maybe he goes out here and deals. And this is definitely not a bet. This is a lean, but I would definitely lean the Royals here.
Yeah, I put Royals or pass on the screen for you. Next game. Giants at Twins. Another dog that I like. Don't like it quite as much as I like the Orioles. But I'm on the Giants here. I think it was what, plus 135? Did we do line shopping? Yeah, okay. Plus 135. Don't look now, but San Francisco is red hot. They've won 6 of their last 7. They're absolutely murdering right-handed starters. Probably will tell you a little bit more about those numbers, but the last 4 righty starters to face the Giants have each allowed 4 runs. So each of the last 4 righties that have faced the Giants have allowed 4 runs, and that includes Sandy Alcantara. There's a couple good ones in there. Like I said, he'll talk about that. Twins bats seem to be regressing back to where they were a few weeks ago. I mean, just not scoring runs. Now, granted, they did just have a 6-game road trip out west against the Dodgers and Angels. But even last night, back at home, just 1 run off Sean Manaea. You would think that's a spot where the Twins bats would have gotten going. So maybe the only angle I could see for the Twins bats there are, hey, they struggled out in their West Coast road trip, and then they traveled back and didn't get a day off. Maybe. I think that's razor thin. Line movement not in our favor here. This morning, Giants were plus 115. In fact, let me make the graphic bigger. So you can see odds makers definitely reacting to the Minnesota Twins action. Public is very heavy on Minnesota. At 4 a.m., it was Twins minus 140. It's now minus 156 as of 3 p.m. So line definitely moving towards Minnesota. And I'm definitely not thrilled to fade Sonny Gray, especially at home. But the Giants are red hot. Plus 130 is a really nice price tag, and the public's all over Minnesota. That's enough to draw a small bet out of me. Definitely went back to Twins, probably playing the Giants at the plus price.
Yeah, I mean, I got nothing for this one. Alex Cobb has some pretty terrible career numbers against the Twins lineup, which is a bit concerning. I think they're batting over 350 against him. And then on top of that, yes, they are smashing righties, but dude, Sonny Gray at home is just seems to be a different beast right now. I mean, they did just smash Bailey Ober, who looked unstoppable, for 4 runs. Alcantara for 4 runs. Walker for 4 runs through less than an inning. And Wheeler for 4 runs. So, I mean, if you do like the Giants, I mean, the angle you have is that those bats are rolling right now, and they've been hitting top-level pitching talent lately. And Gray applies to that. But I don't know. Ultimately, I just feel like I'd be forcing something there, so I'm just going to pass.
Yeah, I mean, I can feel that. It was more like just the price. It was too good to pass up with a team that's won 6 out of 7.
Yeah.
Next game. No one put any picks for the comments in that one. I guess everyone's passing on that. Oh, wait. Twins. San Francisco won 2 in a row. Okay, so Ben Jones is saying take the Twins. Problem is they're damn near minus 60. It's pretty expensive. Marlins at Rockies are next. I'm on the Rockies. For show. Getting that for show. Rockies money line plus 102. Another dog that I like. So I wanted to bet the Marlins because Yuli Perez is cool, and I wanted to back them, but the entire world is betting Miami. You can't look at this graphic here. The red is the Marlins. Beaver screwed up on these colors here. But look how everyone betting the Marlins here. Public is so heavy on Miami, so I guess the word is out on this Yuli Perez kid. Everyone likes him. And for what good reason. He's looked like a monster so far. Keep in mind, though, his numbers through his first 2 starts are excellent, without a doubt. But keep in mind, they were both home games, and they were against the Reds and the Nats. Now he's got to go make his first career road start. And of all places, it's at Coors Field against a Rockies lineup that's been hitting right-handed pitching well this entire season, and they haven't cooled off. Basically, the only thing Colorado has consistently done well this year is hit right-handed pitching. In the last 14 days, they're 9th in Major League Baseball. In the last 7 days, they're 7th. This Rockies team can hit righties. This is looking like a really, really tough spot for a 20-year-old kid making his first career road start in Coors Field. Now, I know Austin Gomer's pitching for Colorado, and by no means am I going to tell you that this dude's reliable. I'm not. I mean, he's not reliable. But it's the Marlins bats we're talking about. Marlins, although they've been hitting lefties a little bit recently, they've definitely been better against left-handed pitching than righty-handed pitching. But I still don't trust this lineup at all. And at plus money, I get to fade a 20-year-old kid making his first career road start. I'll do it.
Yeah, I mean, from a pure sharps perspective, I feel like we got to go Rockies here. That's what we did yesterday, and it wound up cashing for us. Just looking at that line, reacting in the wrong way to that money, and here we go. We're in a very similar situation. I love Yuri Perez. I've been preaching him. He's a beast, but this is a horrible spot. And I mean, the books definitely agree, because if you know from his first 2 games, Yuri Perez had 7 and 6 Ks. What is his total set at for today, you may ask? Well, 4.5, and the over is at plus 125. So they're outwardly begging you to take his over that he smashed his first 2 games. Don't like the look there. And then on top of it, the Rockies last year, they were the lefty killers. This year, they've been significantly better against righties. And I could see them getting to him. It's not like Perez faced the best competition his first 2 starts either. Now you got to go into Coors against a hot lineup. It's a very tough spot. I mean, everybody knows that Austin Gomber stinks. So I'm not going to go ahead and sit here and act like he doesn't. But I will say that he's been definitely much better as of late. Sure, he got rocked by Cincy, who hits lefties well, but he went 6 2/3 against Philly, only allowing 3 runs and 5 base runners. He allowed just 2 runs to the Mets through 6 innings, 1 run to the Diamondbacks through 6 innings, 0 runs to the Guardians through 5 innings. So it's not like he's been the worst in the world. In fact, he's been in much better shape than he was through his first 4 starts. And on top of that, something a little interesting that you may like to know is that Austin Gomber in 2 starts against the Marlins. One was at home. He pitched 6 innings, allowed 0 runs, struck out 9 batters. And then he visited Miami and he allowed 1 earned run, pitched 5 innings, and struck 5 guys out. So he's had decent success against the Marlins before. He's going to be at home, which I know at Coors isn't the biggest advantage of the world, but it is an advantage. And Yuri Perez is going to be on the road. And I think these bullpens are just very comparable in terms of talent as of late. So at that plus price, fading the world, gotta love the Rockies.
Let's do it, Rockies. Yeah, someone even said in the comments, Yuli Perez over K's, so that everyone's all over that. I agree, looking square. But it looks like we had some people agreeing with us in the comments. Ben Jones says Rockies and plus money. Rockies all day from Jeff B. Rockies and Marlins over from Ben Nikowski. And also over. Where did Hairston? Oh, Rockies might just be the play from Hairston. Oh, he actually said, but I'll pass. So we have some support in the comments on this one. But let's move on to the next game. Still 2 more to go. Boston at the Angels. And, I did this graphic wrong. Boston's Bello's supposed to be on top. Obviously, Bello's pitching for Boston, not LA. Hopefully, you guys can decipher that. But I'm leaning Boston. It's not a play I'm crazy about. I like the kid Bello, so I'm backing him, and I think Griffin Canning is completely overvalued. Not that he's valued very high to begin with, but I've recently become a Bello supporter, and Boston's lineup was held to 1 run in their last 2 games, so I think they're due for an offensive explosion. We know that this Red Sox lineup can hit. They certainly can hit right-handed pitching. Yeah, I'm on Boston, but that's just, if gun to my head, I had to pick a team. I don't know if I'll whether or not I bet this game will probably depend on how I'm doing in my other games. This didn't make the ticket, right?
No, and it sucks because I really like the other side. I like the Angels here. Go ahead and look at Griffin Canning's prop lines today. You'll see a bunch of red if you're looking at a chart of his recent hit rates. To me, that's music to my ears because the books are telling me that he's going to have a really solid outing here. His K mark is at 4.5. He's gone over that once in his 6 starts. His outs line is at 16.5. He's never gone over that mark. His walks line is at 1.5 despite going over his last 4 or 5 games, and it's juiced to the under. I mean, there's just something going on here with this line, and I think the easiest way to explain what's happening here is that the Boston Bats have started to absolutely suck over the last 2 weeks. Let's go ahead and put it blatantly, because they're 27th in WRC plus against righties over the last 2 weeks. 27th. On top of that, a team that wasn't whiffing much is now in the bottom 10 of K percentage against righties. So they aren't really hitting righties well. Griffin Canning had one previous outing against them, albeit it was in 2020, but he looked phenomenal against them. He has some experience against this lineup that's positive for him. And with the Red Sox bats dead, I don't know. It's just looking like a spot where the books really like Canning to deal, and I don't necessarily disagree with them. On the other side, you got Bello, and I really do like Bello. I was looking at his K over. Didn't ultimately get there because his K percentage is much lower on the road. But I do respect Bello. I do like Bello, but this is now going to be the second time that they're seeing him this season. He saw them at home in an 11 a.m. game, a game where the bats are usually dead, and he got absolutely demolished. I don't really see much better results for him at LA. I do like him, but he also is inconsistent. We have to admit that with Bello. And because of that, I like the angle with the Angels. Also, I think that although the Angels bullpen has not been great as of late, it's performing better than Boston's.
All right, I mean, those are solid reasonings, and I don't like Boston enough to argue with you. You know, like if it was one of the picks I liked, I would go toe to toe. But I mean, that your logic sounded pretty sound on that. So let's move on to the next one. A's at Mariners. Oh, I hate when we end on a game I skipped. I skipped this one. Probably Rez a play, and I'm gonna tail it, but it's not my pick, so I'll let him break it down for you. It's a solid angle, and this bet seems to keep hitting. So let us know.
I like the A's, people. I like the Athletics here. I like them through the first 5 with the half run. We're getting that at plus 110 on FanDuel. And why do I like it? Well, I think Marco Gonzalez stinks. And if you don't think he stinks, I think you need to seek help. And more so, if we're getting down to the serious reasons, Oakland's been pretty much a top 12 lineup against lefties all year. They've given a lot of solid lefties, much better lefties than Marco Gonzalez, a lot of trouble. And while Marco Gonzalez will be at home, a spot that he is better in, I'm just not seeing it from the guy who has a 6.1 ERA on the year and a 1.6 whip. It's clear that he's very, very exploitable. And with the Athletics in their best split, also having great history of winning at Seattle, I think that those bats are going to come through the first 5 and provide a little bit of juice for Oakland. On the other side, we got Luis Medina. I bet his over in Ks earlier in the day at minus 130. That's now moved to minus 160, minus 170 range. So I cannot recommend that to you guys. But the reason I really like that so much is simply just because of what the Seattle bats are doing against righties lately. What are they doing? They're whiffing and swinging at everything. During that span, they are dead last in K percentage. Over the last month against righties, they are whiffing at will. And on top of that, they're just not producing. Medina is a guy they've never seen before, but I do like what I've seen from Medina his last 3 starts. He faced the Angels, who he got roughed up by. Can't really fault him for that going into LA in his first start ever. That's always going to be a tough spot. But then he faced Texas, and he held them to 1 run through the first 5. And then he faced Arizona, another tough spot, and held them to 1 run through the first 5. So I think that through the first 5, we could hold the Mariners to about 1 or 2 runs here. Marco Gonzalez gives up 1 or 2 runs, and we have the extra half run in our pocket at that plus price. I just don't think the Mariners are as good as they are being priced. And I know the Athletics are truly awful, but if we're just isolating it to the first 5, I don't think they're that bad. So I'm willing to take that price.
Sounds good. Getting a half run at plus money, I'll do it. And I'm not I'm always down to fade Marco Gonzalez any day of the week. So sounds good to me. All right, that's all the games. Let's do the community parlay. And someone was asking, Toast, I think he's joining us on Friday. So it'll be all 3 of us on Friday. Community parlay. Let's hear it for those of you who have never been part of this. All right, so I think it's hit twice, or did it hit 3 times? Might have been 3. I can't remember. No. Red Sox lost game 1 of the series. This is game 2. The person that said Red Sox are getting swept. Oh, so Astros money line. They were saying they're going to lose 2 in a row, I believe.
Astros minus 3.5.
Twins money line. There's always that one guy who joins every time. I forget his name. Who's always like, my lock, White Sox plus 4.5. Like, damn, dude. Yeah, nice minus 390 play.
Nah, well, this guy's trying to lay it and get like plus 300. Respect to him.
No, I know. I was just reminded me of that guy. So we got Astros money line, Twins money line. Throw your legs in there. Let's build this community parlay. Mariners money line. I'm down to put that in there, even though Marco Gonzalez is trash. Let's wait for one more leg. These are favorites too, so we're definitely going to need the 4th leg. Judge home run. Not putting a home run prop in it. Marlins. Marlins money line. What does that come to? Mariners. Twins.
That's coming out to plus 638.
Plus 638. So there's the community parlay. Astros money line, Twins money line, Mariners money line, Marlins money line, plus 638. Let's do it. Community, let's join together as a community. Pick up this dub. Thanks as always for watching. We'll be back tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. for the just make sure it's a normal MLB Wednesday, nothing weird. Yeah, a lot of day games. So, damn, there's a lot of night games too.
Yeah, huh? Maybe we'll split it up.
Maybe we'll have 2 live shows, a quick 11 a.m. show, and then maybe one. Yeah, we'll probably do that. We'll probably be live at 11 a.m. and then live again at 4 p.m. to do the night game. So we'll be live twice for Major League Baseball tonight, tomorrow. Yeah, and that's it. Tickets will be posted right now. He's about to post the MLB one. The NBA ticket will be posted about 10 minutes after that on KyleKirms.com. So thanks everyone for watching, and we'll see you.